What happens when one of Hollywood's most admired and respected actors finally reaches his breaking point on live television? Hugh Jackman, who is usually known for his calm personality and polite professionalism, ended up losing his cool during what was supposed to be a normal, promotional interview on The View. And it all began with Joy Behar pushing and provoking questions that went far beyond what anyone would consider respectful. This situation shocked viewers everywhere. So make sure you subscribe and let me know in the comments where you think the line was crossed, because this moment was hard to watch. Let's go into what really happened behind the scenes. The day began like any other stop on a promotional tour for Hugh Jackman. He was appearing on the show to talk about his return to Broadway, something he had been very open and excited about for a long time. He was told ahead of time that the interview would be relaxed, lighthearted, and fun, focusing on his upcoming work and career highlights. What he didn't know was that Joy Behar had spent the night before reading through old interviews, news clips, and online discussions so she could bring up controversial topics and try to stir drama. When Hugh walked on stage, his classic warm smile lit up the entire studio. The audience cheered loudly, and he greeted everyone kindly, waving as he sat down next to the hosts. Whoopi Goldberg welcomed him warmly like she always does. "Hugh, it is always great to have you here. You look amazing and we can't wait to hear about your return to Broadway," she said. Hugh responded graciously, "Thank you so much for having me back. Honestly, every time I come here it feels like I'm visiting family." His voice was soft, friendly, and charming like always. The conversation started smoothly. Sarah Haynes asked him about how he prepares for stage performances. Alyssa Farah Griffin asked him what it was like working with his castmates. Hugh told funny stories from rehearsal and shared how much he loves performing live in front of an audience. Everything seemed perfect and easy. But then Joy Behar leaned in, and anyone who has watched the show before knows exactly what that look means. It was the look she gives right before starting a confrontation. "Hugh, I want to talk about something that has been bothering me," Joy began, her tone suddenly heavy and challenging. Hugh's face shifted slightly, but he stayed polite. "Of course, Joy, what would you like to talk about?" Joy didn't hesitate. "I noticed in past interviews you avoid speaking about political matters. Some people think you're being purposely vague because you want to protect your career. Are you afraid to speak up because you don't want to lose fans or money?" The room went silent, even the cameras seemed to pause. Hugh's smile faded just a bit, but he responded calmly. "I'm not sure what you are implying, Joy. I've always believed my job is to give people joy and entertainment, not tell them what to think about politics." But Joy refused to let it go. "Oh, come on, that's just an excuse. You have influence and you choose not to use it." "Some could say that's selfish," she snapped. Whoopi tried to step in to redirect the conversation. "Joy, maybe we should get back to the Broadway show," she suggested. But Joy ignored her and kept pushing. "No, I think this matters. Hugh, you made millions from American audiences. When the public needs celebrities to speak up on important issues, you stay quiet. How do you justify having privilege without any responsibility?" Hugh stayed respectful, but his patience was thinning. "Joy, I think you're misunderstanding. I support many charities and causes. I just don't believe my political opinion should affect how people enjoy entertainment." Joy smirked and said sharply, "So you'll take people's money, but you won't stand up for them." "Understood." The atmosphere in the studio became extremely tense. The audience didn't know what to do. Hugh tried to stay calm, but Joy kept going. "And another thing, Hugh," she continued. "You always choose very carefully where you appear and what interviews you give. It seems like you're trying to control your image. That feels fake." Hugh's hands tightened in his lap, still holding on to his professionalism. "Joy, I don't understand why you're being so aggressive. I came here to talk about theater and to connect with viewers. If you want a political argument, this might not be the right place." Joy scoffed. "So now I'm the bad guy because I'm asking real questions instead of praising you. You just can't take any criticism." The studio was so quiet that you could hear someone breathing. Then Joy continued again, ignoring how uncomfortable everyone was. "Actors like you come here pretending to be humble, but deep down you think you're better than everyone else." Hugh's eyes changed. The warmth was gone. "Joy, you are crossing a line. I have been respectful this entire time. I don't deserve to be spoken to this way." Joy laughed mockingly. "Oh look, the tough action star suddenly can't handle real questions." Whoopi stepped in again, this time firm. "Joy, enough. We are supposed to be talking about Hugh's show. The audience did not come here to watch you interrogate him." But Joy was not backing down. "No, Whoopi. Viewers deserve to see who celebrities really are." Then she turned back to Hugh. "Tell me honestly, Hugh. Do you think you are better than the average person watching this show?" Hugh leaned back, trying to remain calm, but his voice now had steel in it. "Joy, that is an extremely offensive question. I have never believed I am better than anyone." Joy rolled her eyes. "Oh, here we go. Playing innocent." Sarah Hayes tried to change the subject again, but Joy shut her down. Hugh finally looked directly at Joy and spoke with emotion that everyone felt. "Joy, have I done something to you personally? Because this feels like an attack, and it feels cruel." Joy rejected that completely. "I'm just asking questions. The problem is you can't handle honesty because you're used to being praised." Hugh's voice rose slightly. "No, Joy. What you're doing is not honesty. It's disrespect, it's hostility. You're not having a conversation, you're trying to provoke me. Joy leaned back smiling like she had won. And there it is, the real Hugh Jackman, not so friendly now. Something inside Hugh finally snapped. He leaned in and lowered his voice to a calm but powerful tone that was more intense than shouting. Joy, I came here respectfully. I answered your questions. I treated you with kindness. But you clearly came here today wanting a fight. So tell me, what are you trying to accomplish? Because if your goal is to embarrass me, you're only making yourself look unprofessional and mean. The studio froze. Joy went silent for the first time. Hugh didn't shout. He didn't insult her. He simply spoke the truth with calm strength, and that was the moment everything shifted. Frankly, a lot of viewers were getting tired of watching the conversation by this point. The tension had been building so slowly and steadily that nobody realized how close things were to snapping. Alyssa Farah looked like she was about to leap out of her seat and sprint out of the studio altogether. She kept shifting her hands in her lap, her eyes wide, clearly wishing someone would cut to commercial. Sarah Haynes kept glancing toward the producers just off camera, silently begging for help, for someone to step in and take control before things got completely out of hand. But there was no saving this now. The situation had reached the point where everyone could see the crash coming, but nobody could stop it. The train wreck was fully in motion and the energy around the table had changed completely. Joy leaned forward, doubling down instead of calming down, her tone sharpening like the edge of a knife. Oh, so now the real Hugh Jackman is finally coming out, she said with a cold little laugh. Not so polite and charming now, are we? This right here, is what I've been trying to show everybody. Under that perfectly polished image you show the public, you're just another self-important celebrity who can't handle being questioned. That was the moment Hugh stood up. He didn't just stand. He rose so quickly that the back legs of his chair lifted from the floor and nearly toppled over. The sound of it scraping against the stage made several audience members jump. A wave of shock moved across the studio. People gasped audibly. The atmosphere in the room shifted from tense to electric, like a storm had just broken open inside the building. You know what, Joy? Hugh said, his voice booming through the studio speakers. He wasn't shouting, but his voice filled the room with the weight of someone who had finally reached their limit. Everyone watching, every host, every audience member, could tell they were witnessing something rare, something real, something absolutely unplanned. I've had enough. I have sat here patiently while you attacked my character, questioned my integrity and tried to provoke me into reacting exactly like this. Well, congratulations. You finally got what you were looking for. LaJoy blinked. There was the faintest flicker in her expression, surprise breaking through her forced confidence. She tried to regain her composure instantly. Maybe you should sit back down and we can talk about this calmly, like adults. Like adults. Hugh let out a short, humorless laugh that cut through the silence like a crack. Joy, you wouldn't recognize adult behavior if it walked up and introduced itself. You have spent the past 15 minutes behaving like a schoolyard bully, and now you want to talk about being mature. The cameras were rolling. Every second of this was being preserved. The producers weren't sure what to do. Cut to commercial and try to pretend none of this was happening. Or let it continue because they knew every person watching at home would be glued to their screens. Even the crew members had stopped moving. They were standing still, headsets half raised, unsure whether to intervene or stay back. Joy tried to speak again, but her voice wasn't as solid as before. I think you're overreacting. Overreacting. Hugh's voice rose again, but now there was a tremor in it, a mixture of disbelief and anger. You questioned whether I deserve the success I've worked 3 decades to achieve. You accused me of being insincere, selfish, and arrogant. You claimed that I think I am somehow above the audience watching this show. And you did all of that not because there was any reason to, but because you wanted to provoke, to stir controversy, to create a moment. Whoopi Goldberg finally leaned forward, trying desperately to steer the train back onto the tracks. Joy everyone, let's take a breath. Let's just reset for a moment. But Hugh was beyond resetting. He turned toward Whoopi and the weight in his tone softened, but didn't lose its force. Whoopi, I respect you. I always have. I've been on this show before, and it has always been a good experience. I came here today expecting that same respect, that same professionalism. But I will not sit here and be torn apart for sport. I will not play the role of someone else's punching bag. He turned back to Joy again, the intensity in his eyes unwavering. And you, Joy. I don't know what's going on with you today. I don't know if you're angry about something else, or if this is just who you've decided to be. But whatever the reason, it doesn't give you the right to be cruel. I came here to talk about something I love. I came here to share something positive, and instead, you turned it into a personal attack. Joy opened her mouth to interrupt, but Hugh held up a hand, steady and commanding. No, I'm speaking now. The entire studio fell silent again. You want to know who I really am? I'm someone who has worked extremely hard to get where I am. I try my best to treat people with respect, everyone, whether they are fans, colleagues, crew members, or strangers on the street. I believe that when you are given a platform, you should use it to bring something good into the world, and I will not allow anyone to drag me down in front of millions of people just because they think cruelty makes good television. He looked around at the other hosts, Sarah, Alyssa, and Whoopi. His expression softened for them in a way that was noticeable. "I'm sorry that you had to be here for this. You've all been gracious and professional." Then he looked directly into the camera, addressing not the studio but the people watching from home. "To everyone watching, I want to say that this is not how conversations on television are supposed to be. I believe in kindness and respect. I believe in building people up, not tearing them apart. What happened here today wasn't okay. And sometimes the only thing you can do in a situation like this is stand up for yourself and walk away." He turned to go. The studio was so quiet you could hear the faint hum of the lights, but Joy just couldn't help herself. "Running away, Hugh," she called after him. "I guess we really did see the real you today." He stopped. Very slowly, Hugh turned back around. The expression on his face was not angry anymore, it was disappointed. Deeply, deeply disappointed. "No, Joy. Running away would have been staying silent. Running away would have been letting you keep talking to me like I don't have the right to defend myself. What you saw today was someone who respects himself enough to say enough. And if that makes you uncomfortable, then that says everything about you, and nothing about me." He walked off the set. The silence that followed was absolute. No applause, no music, no laughter. Just the stunned realization that something major had happened. The camera held on Joy's face. Her expression was no longer smug. It was shaken, almost hollow. She knew in that moment that the attempt to embarrass him had failed completely. It had backfired more spectacularly than anyone could have predicted. This was a lesson in what happens when a genuinely good person is pushed too hard and decides not to let someone walk over them anymore. Hugh Jackman didn't just defend himself. He revealed exactly what kind of behavior had been happening right there in plain sight. So now the question is yours: did Hugh go too far, or was Joy entirely out of line? Tell me what you think in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more intense celebrity moments like this.